Have you ever met a stranger who changed your life forever, only to disappear before you could even say thank you? What if years later, fate gave you one final chance to see that person again? For Ethan Parker, a lonely businessman who had almost given up on love, that impossible moment arrived on a rainy Thursday evening at a small cafe downtown. He thought he was showing up for one last blind date before deleting every dating app on his phone forever. But the woman who walked through that cafe door wasn't there to find romance. She was there because of a debt she had carried in her heart for 7 long years. Before we begin this heartwarming story, make sure to subscribe to Kindness Journey, like this video, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Your support helps us bring more inspiring stories about kindness, hope, and the incredible ways people change each other's lives. Ethan stared at his coffee and checked his watch for the 3rd time. At 38 years old, he was tired. Not physically tired, but tired of disappointment. After years of failed relationships and countless awkward blind dates, he had promised himself this would be the last one. If it didn't work out, he would stop searching and simply focus on his work and his quiet life. The rain tapped softly against the cafe windows as people hurried past outside. Ethan sighed and reached for his coat, thinking his date had decided not to show up. Then the front door opened. A young woman stepped inside. She paused for a moment and looked around the room. When her eyes landed on Ethan, she froze. Ethan stood politely and offered a small smile. But instead of smiling back, the woman looked emotional. Her eyes filled with tears. She slowly walked to the table and sat down. For a few seconds, neither of them spoke. Then she took a deep breath and said, "I'm only here because I owe you my life." Ethan blinked in confusion. "I'm sorry," he said. "Have we met before?" The woman nodded. "My name is Claire," she replied. 7 years ago, I was a scared 19-year-old college student. You probably don't remember me." Ethan searched his memory but came up empty. Claire smiled sadly. "It was winter. There was a snowstorm. I was standing alone on a bridge." The words hit Ethan immediately. Suddenly, he remembered. 7 years earlier, while driving home late at night, he had seen a young woman standing dangerously close to the edge of a bridge during a blizzard. Something told him to stop. He had parked his car, walked through the snow, and simply asked if she was okay. She wasn't. For nearly an hour, Ethan had stood there in the freezing cold talking to a complete stranger. He listened while she shared her fears, her loneliness, and the overwhelming problems she felt she couldn't escape. Eventually, he convinced her to step away from the edge. When help arrived, he quietly left without even asking her name. Claire wiped away a tear. "That night, I planned to end my life," she said. "But you stayed. You listened. You treated me like I mattered." Ethan felt his chest tighten. "I just did what anyone should do." Claire shook her head. "No. Most people drove past. Most people never stopped. You did." The cafe seemed silent around them. Claire explained how that one act of kindness had changed everything. She had received counseling, returned to school, graduated with honors, and eventually became a nurse. Every day she helped people through difficult moments because someone had once helped her through hers. "I've spent years trying to find you," she admitted. "I never knew your name. I only remembered your face." A few months earlier, a mutual acquaintance had unknowingly connected them through a dating service. When Claire saw Ethan's photo, she couldn't believe it. The stranger who had saved her life was the same man she had been matched with for a blind date. Ethan sat speechless. For years, he had felt that his life lacked meaning. He worked hard, paid his bills, and went through the motions. Yet sitting across from Claire, he realized something extraordinary. The most important thing he had ever done wasn't a business deal, a promotion, or a financial success. It was a simple decision to stop and care about another human being. The two talked for hours. They laughed about life's surprises and shared stories about their journeys over the years. For the first time in a long time, Ethan felt hopeful. Not because he had found romance. Not because life had suddenly become perfect. But because he finally understood that kindness creates ripples we may never see. A single conversation on a snowy bridge had transformed 2 lives. As the cafe prepared to close, Claire smiled. "You gave me my future," she said softly. Ethan shook his head. "You built that future yourself." Claire smiled again. "Maybe. But you gave me the chance." They stepped outside into the cool evening air. The rain had stopped, and the clouds were beginning to clear. Above them, the first stars appeared in the night sky. Neither of them knew exactly what the future would hold. But both knew something important. Kindness is never wasted. The smallest act of compassion can become someone's turning point. A few kind words, a moment of patience, or the simple choice to care can change a life in ways we may never fully understand. So the next time you see someone struggling, remember Ethan's story. Your kindness may feel small to you, but to someone else, it could mean everything. And sometimes, years later, life has a beautiful way of showing you just how much your compassion mattered. Until next time, keep spreading kindness, because every act of kindness begins a journey that can change the world, one heart at a time.